And you're now entering the sister chat. Welcome to our podcast, Main Event Mamas.
Whoop, whoop. And we're back this week with a whole another set of 2 episodes. And I want to talk a little bit about your week. How was your week going, Tanisha?
Well, I'm alive. The children are alive.
That's an accomplishment.
It's an accomplishment. I think it's an accomplishment. We need to be thankful. Thankful
It is.
to whatever spirit above that keeps me alive. Yes. And these children, great.
Them too. Same. Yeah. Same. I'm alive. I made it. Had some car trouble this week, but we got out of it because my husband's a dear. He kept me sane and fed me, which is the key to mostly anything. And then my child, one of my girl child.
Not you saying one of my girls. Ooh,
yeah, I only have one. So let's act like we know. One girl, one boy, but we're not envisioning not another thing.
Okay, just normally when you say that without thinking about it.
Don't get excited. Okay. Just one of each. And it's rough. I mean, we talked about the end of school happening for me, which apparently is this week. Yay. Not yay. I'm sad. But essentially, it's been challenging for both of us, right? We've had a lot of conversations this week about school and what it's done to our children and coincidentally us.
Listen, I think we were on the phone, twice, 3 times yesterday? I don't even know.
Yes.
Your niece. It's not like it's the girl's turn this week. I'm not understanding what's happening. Maybe because it's a pink moon or something. I don't know.
She said a pink moon.
It is because it was pink yesterday. I saw it. It was pink, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's a pink moon."
So maybe that's why. So I definitely think, like I said, we were having challenges, but in different ways, but with both of our girl children. So let's talk a little bit about that. So I know that your story has a little bit to do with acting out.
Yes.
And so my first question will be I don't know how much you want to get into, but my first question about this in general is what acting out really looks like in a school setting today. Because I know when we grew up, those were the bad kids. You know what I'm saying? They was the ones who was cussing at the teachers and
you expected them to be bad. You expected them to come out there and be acting crazy.
You knew this group of people. You knew they was bad kids, and you was like, sucks to be you because you're probably going to be in school suspension 98% of the year. And your poor parents, maybe some of them care, some of them didn't. But I didn't want to be classified that way because our parents would have killed us. I feel like I wouldn't have made it to no birthdays after that if my mom had to come down to school like this. But I just want to kick off a little bit and talk about kind of what you've been through this week, because I think it could really help a lot of parents who are dealing with some of these changes. I know we discussed it being puberty previously, but I think we have eclipsed a whole new level of acting out. What do you think?
I mean, I definitely think so for sure. So you know what? We're family here, right? We're welcoming you guys in. I've always been an open book, so it's what it is. So my girl child, my child, a 9-year-old, she is now acting in a way of, not acting in a way of defiance, because she's always been kind of defiant. She's always been a bullheaded child. She's always been a stubborn child. She always has to have it her way.
Where does she get it from?
I don't know. I would say her father, but
okay. Could be.
It could be her brothers. I don't.
Her brothers? Oh, okay. So not that they share. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, no, why would I take accountability? That came from me. Okay, I'm joking. Yes, definitely came from me. But she decided she wanted to be out of character for her.
Okay.
And for what people know her as. The funny girl, the smart girl, the energetic. She does, have her I'm going to do it my way, blah, 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 blah. But she decided to cuss out adults.
That's crazy.
And it was one of those what? I was mad. Girl?
As you should be.
What are you saying to me? She said I was mad, but I was mad at so-and-so. So I told them, it came out my mouth, but I wasn't talking to them. Oh, that's right. See, I didn't talk to you after this. She changed the story last night. My 10-year-old, who is her big brother.
Okay.
So we got the big brother, the teenager. Then we got the mature 10-year-old. Then we got her 9-year-old who thinks she's mature, but she kind of. And then we got my 7-year-old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the 10-year-old came in here, was like, why are you switching the story? You sat here and told me da da da. And I looked at her and I was like, I said, yeah, girl, why are you switching the story? Because you definitely told me this, and the third happened. And she's like, well, wait, no. I was like, yeah, yeah. Now you about to try to backtrack and try to add. She's like, yeah, because it actually happened after.
After.
Girl, what are you doing? You just admitted to me earlier today. Because that's when it happened yesterday. Because that happened 2 days ago. So what happened yesterday was that she decided to write an adult word on a whiteboard and show it to her classmates because one boy was pissing her off. So she wrote it on the whiteboard to show him, but another student saw it and she was like, me? And she was like, no, 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 not you. So and so. So she pointed to the dude, the boy, but then the girl decided to tell. I don't know if that was a
Oh,
good thing or not a good thing, but you know what? It's okay. She told. So then the teacher came over and was like, what's going on here? And saw it on the whiteboard and then proceeded to send me a message. Your daughter just said the F word.
that's crazy.
Wrote it on a whiteboard and showed students. Word, I'm on my way. Because now this is 2 days back to back. You thinking it's okay to be cussing. Her reasoning is, I was mad.
She was mad.
I'm upset. Okay.
Okay.
So what are we supposed to do? Well, I'm supposed to like take a second.
Okay. So
And are you
she's
supposed to
supposed
be
to take a
using are
second.
you supposed to be using adult words? No. I was like, well, first off, where you get it from? She looked at me and I was like, she's like, well, Ma, you cuss at us when you're mad. I said, hold on. Time out. Before I get there, how many chances do I give y'all before I get there though? And she was like, oh, a lot. Oh, okay. So let's you can't, if you want to try to use me as a scapegoat where you got it from, make sure you tell the whole truth. Because I'm
Period.
not cussing at y'all first thing, oh, which I could, but I don't. I don't cuss at my children. I don't hit them unless it's extremely necessary and if they're in a dangerous situation. And I definitely don't be cussing at them unless I have said for the thousandth time after being nice, kind, repetitious. Hey guys, what you guys doing? This is why I said gentle parenting does not work in my house. Because it's what happens when you be gentle parenting. They be thinking that you ain't gangster. And then you gotta be like, yo, I'm
Right.
gangster. What's up? What's the deal? You know what I'm saying? So, but then to come to find out, some of her acting out is related to the co-parent,
Okay.
which I kind of had an idea. Then when I talked to my partner,
Okay.
he goes, well, she's just saying that because that's what you want to hear. And I just looked at him like, you always say that. You always say that somebody's telling me something just because I want to hear it. Versus actually, for 1 second, maybe think that's a possibility that these things could happen. So, in essence, she was grounded. I took her phone
Okay.
away, took her computer away. Technically, she lives on those two things. But
That's
I
right.
still don't think she takes it serious. But I can't do too much of what I normally would do, which is taking away dance and taking away her gymnastics because she has things that she's training for, and she didn't going to be there next week. So it's kind of like
Okay.
a catch-22 because I think if she went last week when we had our special guests, then I wouldn't feel so bad about her missing this week. But because she missed last week, I'm like, gymnastics is important. If you got a show, I don't need you messing up and try to flip and you fall on your head, and then I can't see these people.
Right.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah. So let me stop you there for
Yep,
just a
stop me
second
here.
because I want to ask. First of all, I want to clue y'all in. Our special guest was our baby niece. So you guys didn't get to see her because she slept through the last episode. So sorry. But that's who we're talking about. Our special guest. We were hoping she would make an appearance. At least I was. I'm not sure Nisha was. She was like, please sleep so we can record.
Yes,
But
that was very tiring.
I wanted to clue y'all in on that because you're probably like, who is she talking about? So I want to talk a little bit about what you said. So you said your partner felt that your daughter's response to this was not accurate. And she said that it was because of the co parents and
Correct.
the situation there. And so I think this is a good time to talk about that, like to dig in more into the behavior aspect and find out some of the reasons. So before I said like, there are a lot of kids that we consider bad kids, but I mean, we didn't really know their life at home,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we didn't know what would be necessarily contributing to it. And we were kids at the time. It's not like we were I wasn't really into my Oprah at the time. I wasn't up on my Sally Jesse Raphael. We wasn't into none of that. I was just like, don't mess with them
Hold
because I
on,
don't need to
time out.
be.
I was definitely into Sally
You
Raphael.
were into Sally?
Yes.
Okay. I just was like, we really didn't need to get into the underlying reasons, but I'm sure the teachers were spending some time doing that. Like your teachers are in your school. So tell me, if what did he suggest were other reasons, if he did, that she might be behaving that way? And let's talk a little bit about that, because I think I can certainly see a reason why it would be related to the co-parent, because of course I know a little bit more about that situation. But tell me a little bit more about the reasoning behind, like, why she's acting like this.
I mean, he pretty much said that they're kids. So kids always at some point get to a point where they want to be as defiant. Granted, he did notice that she has been a little bit more aggressive lately. So it's one of those I just look at him like, okay. But I don't think it is. And the reason why I don't think it is because I wasn't the only person talking to her and asking her about this. And to be honest, it was also the co-parent who asked me to ask her these questions, which was surprising because I was like, "Oh snap, you taking accountability." But hindsight, he has not said anything or called since she sent him a voice note telling him the answers to those questions.
Oh, so she did send him a voice note telling
Yes,
him.
actually, I listened to it. I guess I just couldn't listen to it while I was on the phone, so it looked like it was blank. But she sent it, and I listened to it, and I was like,
So what was her reasoning behind, like, what did she say
so
about?
ultimately, remember when I talked to y'all back, maybe second episode, third episode, when
We
I
were
was
talking about
saying
co-parenting, not
the
working, not working.
co-parenting one, where I was sitting here and saying, someone could teach me how to be better co-parents because this ain't working. Because yeah. So since then, me came a couple times. Actually, I don't know. Anyway, he's canceled 3 times. He has told them that they're coming. He's coming. And then proceeds to cancel. She's been mad.
Does
And I
he
know she's been mad.
cancel? Does he cancel with them directly, or does he cancel with you and you have to tell them?
Both. I have now made him responsible. Because if you feel like you can tell them that you're coming, after I've told you repeatedly, please don't do that. Only talk to me about it because we know how things can change. And I don't want them to know that you're coming. And then you choose not to come because of whatever reason, or because you can't come, or whatever reason you come up with why you're not coming. Because at the end of the day, those are just reasons and excuses that the kids don't care about.
Right.
Tell me to keep the disappointment because I'm the one who has to handle and deal with you not coming. You don't
Yeah.
have to handle it. I do. So, So now, these last 3 times, because he told them he was coming, I made him text them. Just like how you told them you were coming through text or however, you need to text them back and tell them you ain't coming. I am not doing that job to tell them that you ain't coming. So I know one time my daughter said, "Hey, mom, you don't gotta worry about picking me up. Dad's picking me up." I called him because I'm like, this is news to me because I didn't even know he was coming. So I said, "Hey, your daughter said you're coming. Are you coming?" "Well, yeah, no, I can't come." "Well, did you tell her that?" "Well, no, I told her yesterday." No, she said you're coming to pick her up today at 4 because what you told them yesterday that you were going to come today. "Oh, yeah, no, I can't because, whatever the reason was. I don't even remember the reason." I was like, okay. So tell them I'm sorry. No, no, no. You're going to text them and tell them you ain't coming. I ain't telling her nothing. So, of course, let me see if I can pull up my phone. She had, just so y'all can hear, she goes, after I had this conversation, I definitely didn't say anything. This was 2 Saturdays ago.
Okay. 2 Saturdays ago.
After telling me she didn't feel good, then she goes, and dad is not going to pick us up today. But it was after she told me that she's not feeling good. I called her, what's going on? What's the matter? Blah, 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 blah. And then after I got off the phone with her, she texts me, and dad's not going to pick me up today, picking us up today. And I was like, and I didn't say anything because I already knew. So all I did was make sure I went to go pick her up. So then she didn't feel away, but I already knew she felt away. And see what my daughter does, she does like to deflect a lot. She'll laugh, she'll change the subject, something that she doesn't want to sit in the feelings because she stays angry all the time. And one of the reasons why she's angry is because all she wants to do is spend time with her father,
Mm-hmm.
and he always finds a reason why he can't make it.
Right.
Just like he was supposed to come last week. I don't think he told them. I don't know because no one said anything to me. But they're so used to it now, they don't say anything too much. They just
Um,
go on with life. But me, it was like, oh, I can't come because this, and it was just like, technically, didn't you know this yesterday when you texted me and told me you were coming? Like, I
yeah.
just don't understand. But at the end of the day, with her and with children who behave differently, right? Because we even talked about that too, right? And knowing that growing up with kids and when they were the bad ones, we also, I know I pay attention because I'm a part of the PTA at my kids' school. So I pay attention to the parents who come, who is frequently there, who shows up, and the ones who don't. Like, especially when there's we had a big meeting. This is go off topic, but we had a big meeting about behaviors in the upper grade. So third to fifth grade. There was only maybe 8 of us there
Wow.
out of a class of 300 and some kids. Now, I'm not saying all 300 something parents need to show up, but at least more than 8 because they were flooding the school. There was particular kids who were flooding the school's bathroom with
Oh,
clothing, with and then they kept started trickling it down to the second graders. Like there was things happening. And see, and this is what we have to think about, right? When it comes to behaviors. 9 out of 10, when we're behaving these ways, even as adults, because we do this too, as adults, when we want a certain type of attention and we're not getting it, so now we're going to resort to the other behavior, which is the bad behavior.
mm-hmm.
Because if you only respond to me when I'm acting crazy, well, I'm gonna act crazy because clearly when I'm calm and collective and doing everything, you're not paying attention to me. But the problem is too, I feel like even like with bullies or um they're still not getting the attention. You still got the parents that still don't show up. Now, granted, not saying everyone doesn't care. I'm not saying that we don't have work, we don't have this, but sometimes you have to make that a priority because
Right.
they pay attention. Kids pay attention to the parents who show up for the other kids and who don't. Even for me, that's another reason why I quit my last job because my kids were making it a thing by telling me now I'm not available again. Now I'm not here. Now, granted, did it take a backseat for me when it comes to finance wise? Of course. But right now, I realize that they're at a stage in their lives that me being present is more important than not being there. And that's what bothers me about my daughter's behaviors in the last couple of days because that's progressive.
Right.
That's a progressive thing. Because I've heard that she did it another time. And then it's like, okay, like where are you getting this from? Why are you talking this? And it was just like, listen. And I even looked at her. I even said to her too. I said, hey, let me ask you something. I asked her about like the bullies and what happens, and she explained it like, hey, yeah, normally they're asking for attention, but in the wrong way. I said, so what do you think you're doing? And she just looked at me and started smiling. I said, no, that's not funny. And I said, who did you really hope was going to come up today? And she looked at me. I was like, who did you think was going to come up here today? She was like, I was hoping Dad would.
That's tough.
Which is
That's
like,
tough.
I didn't ask you to say that. And even if I'm looking for that answer, that's still I want you. I feel like I have become I'm so open with my children. I really had to even have this conversation with her to get her to understand that I understand what she's feeling,
Right.
right? And I know you can kind of relate to this as well because our dad was pretty much split into different places. And I love y'all. I do love y'all. Don't I love you. I love you, baby sister and baby brother. I love y'all so much. Please don't take this the wrong way. But I had resentment to dad. I'm not even lying. I think I had resentment to you at one point too.
Yes.
Because dad was more accessible to y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I talked to dad on the phone. I can, he was a great listening ear. And when I was around him, I had amazing times. But when I felt like I really needed him, he wasn't there. It wasn't like, hey, can you come to my showcase? And the excuse I have, which is something that I find very similar with my current situation, I live in another state. I don't have money. I can't come. I can't do this. Meanwhile, you know what? This is an epiphany. I realized even while I was down here living with dad that I was envious and jealous when I would watch dad go to our sister or brother's not recitals,
Activities. Yeah.
activities, the honor society, all this stuff, and watching how proud he was. And it was just like, I had stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you make an effort to at least come? Come up,
Yeah.
try. Nothing. And I had to tell my daughter, like, I understand. I know what it feels like to, I will not cry on this podcast. I'm not going to do it. I feel it. It's not going to happen. But I
Okay.
understand what it feels like to have someone tell you they're coming and you look and you're waiting and they don't never show up. Or now we have the age of cell phones. So now they can just tell you they ain't coming. I didn't
Yeah.
have that
Back
back
then,
then.
yeah, we didn't know.
I didn't have that back then. It was like, okay, I'm coming. I remember spending hours looking out that window, knowing that it would take about maybe 2 or 3 hours for daddy to get here. Daddy should be here by now. Daddy should be here by now. I think I even had like a party or something one time. Dad didn't show up until the next day. And sometimes dad didn't show up at all. So I
So
had to
you
let
get
my,
it.
yeah, I get it. And I had to let her know that so she can bring down a wall, because we don't even realize as children, the ones who have the behavior issues or they're starting to do that, they have a wall build up. So sometimes you can't get to them. Sometimes they're like, whatever you're saying is just because that's all they do is hear people talk to them and telling them how much they love them or whatever, whatever, but their actions don't prove none of it. So once they have their wall up here and you're trying to break through it, you got to go through so many layers to try to break through it. And I'm trying to keep my daughter from getting the walls up here to where now nobody can reach her. No one can get to her. And now she is dealing with abandonment issues. Now she's dealing with uh uh attachment issues. She's dealing with all these different things as adults that we are trying to either unlearn, myself included, trying to unlearn, trying to figure out, because we keep talking about, we preach love and self-love and all these different things and meditation, all these things, but we don't realize as parents, it starts with us and how we show up for them. So if you say you're going to do something, don't matter. Listen, you know how many times I've been tired, home face tired. Okay, I'm getting up. What I say I was going to do. So then they can at least see that. Like
Consistency.
the consistency. Yes, the consistency. So having those type of, I feel like I don't know where I'm going with this right now because
I know where you're going because I want to take a minute and first I want to address it and to say we went through the same thing, but I also understand your resentment because I think all of us had it. You know, we talked about dad a lot. Dad had a lot of children by different people. And so while he was married to my mom and then married to our stepmom at a later time, rarely, but we're going to go there with that. But no judgment because, love my stepmom's the best. Our stepmom's
yes,
amazing.
love you, mom.
But it was complicated because I went through the same thing. And I know sometimes it didn't seem like it. It might not seem like, oh, well, dad shows up for you or dad will, come to your events. Because I had a million. I mean, I had a million. I was just really lucky to have enough people on my mom's side that they just kept coming to things, right? They just kept coming. Because I had a million and one things and I didn't find my validation in him showing up. I guess that was important to me a lot less as a kid, I think. But I definitely noticed once I reached a certain age, once you start maturing, that you're a little irritated. You're like, okay, especially when I got to 16. And I definitely think that summer that my mom sent me there by myself, that was the one summer I was with dad all by myself that summer.
Yeah,
Besides,
because I
like,
think I was working.
yeah, besides our baby sister and our baby brother. And that is a summer I credit with like saving my life. Because at that point I was angry, I was resentful, I felt misunderstood. I don't have the best relationship with my mom. So it was one of those things where it was like no one gets me, but dad always seemed to be able to get me. Because like you said, you can build up these walls. Though with my mom, it was a little different, but I definitely had walls built up where you couldn't reach me. There was nothing you could say that would make me hear exactly what you were saying. But it took that summer of him really sitting down with me and explaining things. And I hope he would have done the same for everyone else, but I don't think so. I just think he always parented us in different ways. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I think in that particular time, we were both in a place where he could sit down and he could have these deeper conversations. Like, why are you mad? What is really going on? Like, really diving deep into like the issues. And maybe he had the tools then that maybe he didn't have later or before that to really dig into like, why are you like yelling at your mother? Why are you throwing things? Why are you having tantrums? My grades didn't slip. That was one thing that was required because that was my ticket out, is how I looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was awful sometimes as a teenager for real reasons that we're not going to get into on today's podcast because that'll take us down a story that we're not prepared for. So I definitely understand how not having that consistency can shape you and make some of these things happen. Like you're going, like you said, it's a lot. It's a cry for attention. It's a cry for help. It's a cry for presence, for someone showing up for you. Um, and that being said, and I think that's where you were going. But what I want to say here is like, and what I want to call attention to is what we discuss as what might be a good solution, or a good next step for parents who are or seeing this kind of behavior, and what you think might be an effective strategy for dealing with it. So I know you talked about therapy, right? So let's talk a little
Absolutely.
about that.
I'm a strong believer in fixing something now and giving you the tools now so you don't have to try to fix it later. Um in essence, me. uh so with my daughter, I'm definitely going to put her in therapy. She needs to learn anger management because I also had issues anger when I was younger as well. Where I did things I shouldn't have done. And I have that conversation with her. So therapy, even with my oldest, he was in therapy and he still needs therapy, in my opinion. I was trying to help him get over the anger that he was feeling from me and his father breaking up. And most of the anger wasn't towards me, it was towards his father. But some of it was me. And also taking accountability. That's the other thing. As parents, as adults, we need to take accountability for the actions that we do to our children and not trying to have a blind eye. I didn't do that. I didn't do this. Because that's going to help our children heal now versus our children trying to figure out how to heal when they're in their teens, when they're in their 20s, their 30s to 40 to 50s, before they start going and looking down the wrong path for validation or
Acceptance,
acceptance. What's the other one? For the
consistency.
consistency, but also too, what do most of these people go down? They start looking for other avenues to cope, a coping mechanism.
That's
There it
right.
goes.
That's it.
Looking for other ways to do that. I know I did,
Yeah, to feel whole,
to feel whole.
to feel
And
like you belong.
absolutely. So definitely therapy is going to be for her. Um, definitely for my oldest. But even we talked about that. Even going in what's been going on with your
My girl child.
your girl child, trying to help them manage their emotions in the most appropriate way that works for them and for others that for others around them, right? Because we don't want because everybody's mechanisms and control mechanisms are different, but we
Yes.
want them to make sure that they have a healthy in multiple ways to help reduce anxiety that they may feel, right? Because we also talked about school. So any anxieties they feel about school, try to reduce that. Trying to reduce any anxiety that they may feel, especially going through puberty. We talked about that. Puberty comes with a lot of different things that we didn't think about either. So some of that also contributes to what's going on with her too.
Right. A lot of
But
those
that's,
hormones and emotions and
so yes, therapy, I feel, doesn't get enough credit, especially in the Black community.
that's right.
Especially in the Black community. We like to shy away from, no, you don't need that.
We could just take
No,
you to church.
let me just take you
Jesus
over
will fix
here.
it.
He can fix it. Prayer can work. Now, I'm not saying prayer does not
It
always
can.
work. It definitely can. However, you
In
also got to believe.
combination.
Yes, it's in combination, but it's also you have to believe in what you're praying about. Because if you
That's
don't believe in what you're
true.
praying about, it ain't gonna be nothing. Ain't gonna happen. Whatever, and whoever to the God you choose to pray to, but you got to believe into what you're praying, and you got to be very deliberate in what you're praying
Specific.
about, specific
Mm-hmm.
what you're praying about. And what also has to work, you have to work with the prayer. You can't just go, okay, I pray to you, and I'm out. No, that's not how that works. You got to work with that. Man, I lost my train of thought or where I was
No,
going
but
with it.
I think
But
so. This is actually a good opportunity to pivot a little bit to what's kind of been going on. Because I think just to wrap up that particular conversation, I think you're absolutely right. Like therapy is a really important tool that I think, particularly in our community, in the Black community, it gets overlooked. It gets like dismissed as something that's not one of the more important things. And in recent years, it's been a little bit more prevalent, particularly after 2020 when everybody's world blew up and we was all in therapy. Um, which is why can't nobody find a therapist now, and it became more prevalent or in your face about what's important to do. And I agree with you, starting them younger is a great way to just kind of help them make sense of what they're feeling. And I'm sure it might not just be one thing or another. It could be about the co-parent, but it also could be a little bit about puberty and schedule and things changing, because kids, as much as they adapt, they do go through things to adapt to. So I think that makes perfect sense. And I want to take this chance to talk about what I'm going through, which is slightly different, but equally difficult.
mm-hmm.
Because most parents, like, I don't know. I think, again, at the time we associated this behavior with bad kids, not knowing that there was way much more behind it. So as we discussed, my kid has been sick a lot. She missed a lot of school, which means work is kind of like piling up. But it's not just the missing the school that had the work piling up. It was doing that even beforehand, right? So this is an issue that is a reoccurring issue with us and has been ever since fifth grade. And we are in 10th grade now. And I've reached my point where I'm a little frustrated because I'm a very type A personality, right? I'm very much like, if I can get it done and not think about this again, that's what I'm going to do. If I'm going to live up to expectations, and that has carried me through a good bit of my life, and the success that I've had is that if I can check it off and move on with it, I'm fine with it. I don't have to, I don't have to internalize it. I don't have to think about this. And school really isn't the most entertaining thing. I could go to school forever though, because I'm nosy and I like to learn things. But I hate to be tested on it. I just like to learn things. But I think for this particular kid, learning is a bit difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
She definitely has ADHD, which I had to understand what that was. I had to understand the challenge that posed to school in one way. She had a terrible experience her first year in kindergarten. I mean, that teacher was the most awful teacher in the world because my daughter is very sensitive. And so if you yell at her, she's going to shut down. So you kind of have to figure out the way to work with her. And at the same time, she's a delight. She is the sweetest, she's the most helpful. So it's a big, complicated person, right? Like we all are. We all have all these pieces that make us up. And with this particular kid in this instance, schoolwork has just been, man, I mean, it is like the never ending story of yelling, to the point where we have gone through every gamut: the begging, the yelling, the screaming, the punishments. We've done it all, we've said it all, and we still end up in the same place 5 years in a row. Doesn't help, certainly. So I've decided to take a different approach this time. So even though I know that she has been ill, I think it's super important for me to try to help her learn how to deal with this as a long-term situation, not necessarily being ill long term, but being against adversity and having to deal with these challenges yourself and trying to self motivate yourself to do what you have to do to get what you want, right? I think that's a lesson some people just forget. They think they could just live life and just it'll just, it'll flow anyway. And that's not I'm not that way. I'm like, you have to put in the effort, the hustle, the passion. You got to put it all in to get something. Like it's not just gonna fall out the sky into your hands, because I've been waiting for that $1 million to just float on down.
Waiting for that money
Still ain't
tree.
seen it. Ain't seen it, but we gonna get there, but still haven't seen it yet. So I decided, like, now I'm just gonna let her handle her business. Because I'm like, we are halfway through the high school mark. And I have seen other kids, even in our brother, where my mom just like, okay, you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it. And then as you get older and you don't have that same structure, you're not successful. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm just saying in general,
Mhm.
that's the situation that can occur. Is if you have someone who props you up over and over again, what happens when you don't have that there? Now, God willing, I will be here for a while. But we lost our dad early, right? There's no given time that you're going to be here. That you have to learn how to exist on your own. And for me, you're not a baby anymore. Now we're a full blown about to be 16. We're getting up there into, I know, right? I know. Don't make me do it. I will cry. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. But we're getting up there to the point where you're going to have to be taking some accountability for your future at this point. Like, you, high school is a step to something, whether that's a trade school, whether that's college, whether that's a profession, like, you got to go somewhere. So at what point do I start empowering her
That's a good word.
to take this situation and turn it into motivation for something? Now, this is hard for me. This is hard for me. And my husband and I were just discussing it before I got on this call, because his thinking was the opposite. He's like, I think you should keep doing it. And I was like, oh, so you want me to print out all the work again and highlight it like I've done for the last 5 years in a row and make her come check it off like I'm the teacher? Like, I don't have 17 other things to do in addition. And then you're going to be mad because you're like, you're always busy. So, like, I feel like that defeats the purpose. Like, it's really important for me as a parent. I think our job is to prepare our kids to live without us. I think that's something we learned from our father. He did it a lot.
But
Even
say
though
he
we
definitely did it a lot.
he did, and I'm still saying we barely make it. So even though he prepared us for many many moons that
He
he may not
did.
be here, but we barely made it either way. So I think it's become important for me watching them grow that they need to get independence and responsibility. And I know that looks different from elementary school and middle school and high school, but I feel like this is a good time to be like, now you need to see. Now you need to see what happens if you don't do what you're supposed to do. And I think it's important for you to understand why, so that you can make better decisions moving forward. So yeah, so it's a bit of a struggle, but I'm kind of curious. What do you think about that? Like, what do you think I could do differently?
I think no, because they'd also, this is the thing, right? As you was talking, I was thinking about it. They don't know that we were latch kids. So we had to learn to be independent.
There was nobody.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, I was washing clothes at 10 or 11 or 13. Washing my clothes. And I came home, I was hungry, I cooked me something to eat.
You did more than
And
I
not
did.
right, but I'm saying, but I didn't like put it in the microwave. Oh, I made me something to eat. Oh, I'm gonna make me some eggs. I'm gonna make me some fries. I made me something to eat on the stove. And in high school, that level of independence is supposed to be upon you because now, technically, to the world, y'all are supposed to be responsible young adults,
Yeah.
right?
According to this new medical thing where they get their own business and you're not allowed to see the medical charts, I'm like, who's
They
paying the
start that at
bills, folks?
13.
Right, they
You
do.
can't see that. Why? They're still in my house. They're still a minor. So this is where, no, I don't think what you're doing is wrong. Matter of fact, I think I even encouraged you
You did.
to do it
Yeah.
because at some point we do have to take some of that responsibility off of us,
Right.
right? Because if we don't, what the word is, coddle.
That's right.
We're going to
That's
keep
right.
coddling them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I still, even me, right? My mom coddled me. No, that's not the right word. But either way, where I decided to break free because now You've done too much to restrict me in here. You have made me independent, but you're still telling me I can't do this. So now I got to do that to be drastic, right? So we, and two, she needed to. Like, so don't question what you did was wrong because she needed to. You're making a good decision as a parent now because at some point she does have to. And look what has those results have yielded in the last couple of days.
Let me tell you, I was super impressed today.
Mm-hmm.
She came to me after school
Mm.
and she goes, "Mom, I have to tell you, I spoke to the counselor today." She said, "I scheduled a meeting. I realized it was on the wrong date. So I had to go back and reschedule the meeting for today." She's like, "And we sat down and we went through my grades. She moved some of the deadlines so that I don't have to try to kill myself." Because again, she missed a lot of school and
Mm-hmm.
school ends this week. And she's like, she pushed back some of the deadlines till next week. So I have more time. She goes, "I also want to change some of my learning scenarios for next year so that I can take some classes in a smaller, some tests in a smaller environment." Like, I was so
Oh,
impressed
pause.
today when she
Nisi,
came
yes.
into my office and told me what the plan was and was like, "I'm gonna go take a nap and then I'll get back on it when I'm done." And I haven't told my husband this yet, but I'm just gonna say I think you were right. You were right. Because this is what I've been saying over and over again. Why are you asking me to call the counselor? She's your counselor. Why don't you talk to her? Like, I was like, if you feel like you can't get the work done in 3 days, which is unreasonable, to be fair.
It is to be fair, but technically, you know.
I mean, it is to be fair, but at the same time, it's not like she was out for no reason. She was
Right.
ill.
Right.
I'm not saying you need to go above and beyond. I'm
Right.
just saying reasonable timelines. So like it's not like she was up there chilling, having the best time. No, she was in a struggle bus and they knew. I was very vocal. This
Mm-hmm.
well documented. Her doctor's visits are well documented. But I just want to say, like, it showed me, it reinforced my approach and showed me that I am helping her to grow up without hovering as much. Even though, yes, I still go above and beyond. Like, oh my God, I didn't even have the money for my son's prom, but we made it happen. Like, we do all the things because I try to show them, to go back to what you said, the consistency. Like, knowing that is, as long as I'm here, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be on your side. I'm going to help you. But I also want you to start to exhibit this independent behavior because you're going to need to survive. A, if I'm not here, and B, you're coming into adulthood. You can't live here forever. That's not the kind of lifestyle we're gonna have. I have plans for lots and lots of travel. So yeah, so thanks for chatting about
We're
that.
gonna turn your room into a storage unit.
You know, I got plans for that to become a gym, to be honest.
A closet,
I was like, that's gonna be a nice gym, when they decide to head off to
guest room.
college.
To say
And a guest room.
you come in, you go, you don't stay. You
No.
come, you stay
You
a
can
night.
come and drop your stuff off and then pick it up and leave. So I think like you said, like it definitely reinforced to me that it seems to be the best approach. And I love to see that she's growing into what I hope to be a very strong, independent, successful young woman.
How do you, Nisi Poo?
Yes, she did the best. All right, now we're getting into the adulting section. So you know
Oh
what
my
time it
God.
is.
Oh Lord. Okay, I'm ready.
You know what time it is.
Well, wait,
Let's
hold on.
talk
Time note. I
adulting.
just want to say one thing. Since we were just talking about mental health, this is
Yes.
also Men's Mental Health Month.
Oh, it is. I didn't know that.
So, especially to all my men out there,
Celebrate our kings.
we celebrate you guys and let you know that you're not in this world alone. Even though it feels like it, you got the whole world on your shoulders, but also sometimes take some of that off. Let it sit where it's at. And, sometimes you can throw it on us. We may drive you crazy, but that's what we're here for. All right, let's go.
Let's talk about spinning the block. Let's talk about spinning the block.
We both
So
know
for
how to
those
split
of
a block.
you who don't know what that is, we've all been there when you're with a partner and things don't quite work out. And then eventually you run back into each other, fate intervenes, maybe a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months, a
Couple
couple
drinks.
years
Who knows?
later. And then you start to think, maybe this could have been the one. And so you decide, you get in your head, you get that question of, should we get back together
Mm,
and see if it works out this time?
mm.
That's what we're calling spinning the block, for those of you who are not familiar with this. So we've both done this
What?
to
Girl.
varying levels of success. But
And to
first,
some
I want to say,
failures.
what'd you say?
And to some failures.
And to some serious failures. Okay. Have you ever spun the block with an ex, and what was your experience?
Well, clearly I've spun the block a couple of times.
Like I said, varying levels of success.
I mean, my current relationship is spinning the block, but that I feel like that was a little different. That was from like I spun the block from being in high school and now we're adults. And what's so funny about that one is when I found him and we were talking and then I kept saying, just so you know, you ain't about to hit this. You ain't
Oh.
getting none of this.
Mm.
Like, don't think now that I'm talking to you and you're like, oh yeah, you were my girlfriend in 10th grade. You getting some. That's not what's about to happen. Fast forward to 3-4 years later. Here we are. But I will say for a whole year, we kind of was not like it
You
never
wasn't spinning
happened.
in.
We weren't. Yeah, and then we had a conversation right now, and I was like, I wish I didn't wasn't so for upfront and telling you I wanted to kiss you, because maybe you would have sat here and started flirting with me or something. He was like, that ain't my style, and I was like, huh. So that
Disappointing.
kind of like I was like, oh my god. He goes, I'm handsome, and I'm like, you are.
Oh.
So, but you just hand your phone to people? He like, yeah, sometimes I don't gotta say nothing. I just hand them my phone. They just put their stuff
Okay,
in.
bro.
And I was like,
That's you doing the most. Okay.
dang. Okay,
Okay.
well, I mean,
So this has
whatever.
been an interesting experience for
That
sure.
was an interesting experience. But then the worst one, I mean, I guess in the marriage, you spin the block
Oh,
a couple
yeah,
of
I
times
guess.
when you
Yeah.
separate
Okay.
and you come back and you try to, and that ended up in divorce. So and there ain't no more spinning the block with that one. There is no more spinning the block with that one. That is
Okay, no,
done.
that's a good. That's a good.
If you see me spin the block, y'all better spin me around and make you make a U-turn and go that way, or send me off a cliff. Cause
Committed to making sure you never follow that path again.
no, no, no. I'm committed to
Committed
make
to.
sure I never fall that path again.
Okay, so this is a good question. So is there a point of no return when a relationship is truly over and should not be revisited? So I think we've gotten there with a marriage. So tell me, like, why? What has changed to make you be like, we're not spinning not this block, not any block like that again?
My perspective,
Okay.
my view. One, how you treat my kids. Two, how you treated me, and still kind of, and no accountability. Or when you take it and then you take it back, and then it's like, and then also there was no love. Sorry, I know my kids probably watch this.
Okay. Well, I will say this. I definitely spun block. That's one. But I didn't go that far off the block, to be fair. I didn't go that far. We was gone for like a while, but not that
I'm
long.
about to say y'all spun the block at least 3 times.
Yep. And it worked out. It worked out.
Y'all
It
spun
did.
that block 3 times.
We did. But I also think there is something to being children and being adults. I think that changes you, like you said, the perspective. But I also think, and I might have talked about this previously, we had some real communication about this. Like, why did we break up? And not, I love you and we should get back. No, no, like seriously, the things that were non-negotiables. Again, we talked about this, like having that open communication, really, really establishing those boundaries, really telling somebody what's not going to work. And then also understanding it's your relationship and it's whatever you want it to be. I think I let people get in my ear sometimes about what their ideal relationship would be, which wasn't necessarily what my ideal relationship would be, because I'm not necessarily that traditional. I like my space. I don't want you in my face 24/7. I like you. I love
Always
you.
been that way.
But don't be here like you have nothing else to do. Like that's super important because I'm very ambitious and I'm always busy. What?
You just sound like my partner. You just
I saw
sound
like who?
you sound like the boyfriend. He'd be like, I just need my space. And I'm like, I just need to be on top of you. What you doing?
Yeah,
What's going
no.
on?
No. My husband is very smart. He was like, he actually had this conversation with me not too long ago. He goes, I think we're like loners when it comes to like other people. but we
Yeah,
hang
because
out
y'all
with
don't
each
got no
other all the
friends no more.
time.
Y'all just
No,
be.
we do. We do have friends. Well, not since we moved to this new city. No.
Oh, I'm about to
You
say.
forgetting like we're in a new
Oh, that's
city.
right. But still, you know.
And even then I was hanging out with family. It's my friends. Like I don't, It's hard
I
to
can
make a
admit
friends
I don't
as
really have
adults,
like I have
man.
friends. I'm not gonna say I don't have them, but they are not available how I think a friend should be available.
That too.
As in like, hey yo, what you doing? You can come outside? Let's come outside. Like like that's like I don't
That
have
time
those
has
people.
passed. You need to schedule and get on the calendar. That you can't just be like, how was you doing? So yes, we might have spun the block several times, but it's working quite well because I think we had some of the real conversations we needed to have to move forward. And I think also it's super important not to tell all your friends and family every time you break up. That's my other little wisdom tip today is if you
Keep
could
people out your
potentially
business.
that's right. If
Especially
you
if you know you ain't going
potentially
nowhere. Keep them
could
out your
spin the block,
business.
like she said, keep people out your business and maybe keep it to yourself because they don't need to know every reason why y'all not together and all this, that, and the other. And then that you got back together and then you got to explain it to people. It's just awkward. So now I've gotten to the place with all my people that I'm around because yes, I do have friends. Thank you. All the people I'm around, they just don't live in the city I am currently in. I don't even ask that. I'm like, yeah, we broke up. Cool, cool, cool. How do you feel about that? Okay. I'm gonna support you whether y'all get back together or not, unless there's some serious things that we need to address that involve safety. That's when I'm gonna be a little more aggressive and determined on my approach to give my opinion on that. But even in some of those cases, I have learned to
You
zip
gotta
it.
you gotta let them be because sometimes, like I said, if you know you're gonna probably go right back, then there's no point of complaining or telling or saying this.
I mean, I think there's a point, but
I
maybe you
mean,
talk to a
no.
therapist instead
I
of
mean, yes, talking to a
your
therapist. I
best
mean, I'm
friend.
saying a therapist, yes, but like telling your family and your friends, just like me, right? I was abused mentally, emotionally, physically. I kept that a lot to myself. I did
Yeah.
not tell y'all, especially the physical abuse, because I knew y'all would kill this man. I kept
We
it to
might
myself.
have done bodily harm.
Yes, I kept it to myself because I felt what was the point if I knew I wasn't going nowhere right now? Be it means of me being in delusion and thinking I was in love, me feeling this was my karma for me breaking up with my breaking my ex fiance's heart, me feeling some type of way of me feeling it was my karma for why my stepdaughter didn't have her dad present with her anymore, and come to realize some of this had nothing to do with me. It was all him.
So, what advice beyond not telling by your business would you give people for successfully spinning the block? How can you do it?
I mean, time tells everything. I ain't gonna lie. That saying what meant for you will come and be there for you. What if you let them go and they come back, then you know for sure. You know that type of stuff. Now, I'm not saying y'all break up today and the person comes back tomorrow. That's how you know. No, 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 no.
You need a little time.
You need time. You need, and y'all need to come and you need to figure out if where you guys are when y'all come back to each other's lives, if it's organic. So not even y'all reaching out. Sometimes it could just take the point of, I see you in the street.
Literally, what happened to me.
I know. See you in the street, hey, and you don't want to run away. You just kind of you stand there.
I was held captive, to be fair. I was on a bus or a train, so it's not like I could have run away.
I mean, technically, when the doors open at the stop, that wasn't your stop. You could have got off and went to
Okay,
the next
that's
one.
fine.
So it's not even like,
I didn't
you
know
had to
that.
sit there.
To this day, he still tells this story, and I was like, the more you tell it, the more you sound like a stalker. And I'm
I
just
mean,
glad it worked out well. Just glad it worked out well.
but I mean, I'm like I said, I'm a strong believer. Whatever's meant for you is going to be for you, regardless.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing that's going to stop it. Now, I'm not sitting here telling y'all to go spin the block on people that y'all know y'all shouldn't be spinning.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
I'm not telling y'all to now go spin the block on people that you know you shouldn't spin the block on. Like, let's not look at the Ashanti and Nelly story and think that that's supposed to be y'all. That was years apart and multiple relationships apart. that they got back.
She said that may not be your story.
That may not be your story.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Just
you
like
got to
my
get
story may
real.
not be your story.
That's right.
My sister's story may not be your story.
It may not. It took a long time and lots of therapy to get here.
Understand, spinning the block takes work.
It does. Yes, it takes a. That's my advice: is to expect work. I think we talked about this before. You go into relationships thinking it's going to work because love, but you're still different people who have different motivations, desires, interests in some cases. My husband, you can't catch him 3 seconds towards a wrestling ring. He's like, yeah, you enjoy that. I love that for you. You're never going to find me watching anime. Just some things we're never going to cross pollinate on. And I think we are fine with that because we don't have to cross mix, and I'm fine with that. But I also think being okay with that, also, again, establishing, like I said, those boundaries of it's your relationship. Whatever rules that you want to have, whether you want to have it open or you want to have it closed, or you want to go to the strip club and you want to go with him or you don't. And this is not okay according to your lifestyle, and he want to go to church and you don't want to go to church. Like, you have to figure out what the parameters are that work for you. So I think it takes, my advice is to do that self work to determine like what you want.
That was a good one. Say that again. Say it for the people in the
Self
back.
work. Do that to determine what it is that you want.
And what's self work? Self work is working on your
self. That's
okay.
right. So I
just
think
want to
we're
make sure
gonna.
we got that for the people in the back. I didn't think
That's
they
right.
heard that one.
Working on yourself, because I think that's really important. And for me, like that meant like gaining a lot of confidence in myself and my ability to take care of myself, my ability to do what I want to do without other people. So it made me much more of an independent, seasoned person. So by the time I spun the block, he wasn't still dealing with the young girl who didn't know what was going on. She was a grown woman, and she was like, "You better come with the following, or you're gonna have to go."
You were
When
not
now?
a
When now?
you were not a what? You were not a child? What'd you say?
No,
Say that
I
again.
was
Say
not a
that
young
again.
child anymore. I was a
Oh.
grown woman
Oh. The
with
key
my
word
own
is
requirements. That's right. I was a grown
keyword is
woman.
grown. So
That's
that's the
right.
other thing too. When you want to spin the block, let's just say y'all break up, right? And they say it's not this time, we're not blah blah blah, and they go off. But they tell you if you want to be with me, we gotta do this, and the third, right? You need to know that if you're going to do this, and the third, it shouldn't be to get back with that person.
No.
It should be because that's something that they're trying to tell you that you need to work on.
That's
That
right.
is not going to be you're going to still have problems if you're not looking at yourself.
That's
You're going
right.
to still probably have the same problems or run into the same issues that you have from that old relationship to a new relationship, and it's not with the same person. But you're going to be
That's right.
sitting here thinking, or if you do this and you don't get the person that you thought you wouldn't get, now you're like, oh, I did all this work for nothing. No, because you did the work for the wrong reason.
That's right.
So spinning the block is also making sure you come back. If y'all do come back, y'all are two different people. You're not the same people that y'all came with, and understanding, like you said, what our relationship is going to look like, what we think our relationship should look like, the boundaries that we set forward, because I am now grown. I
Yeah.
wasn't
And
that
the
little person
goals,
that you
right?
were.
The goals
And
for
the
your
goals.
future and
Mm-hmm.
whether they fit in or not. I think that's another thing people, again, like we talked about, as a younger woman, I probably wouldn't even have thought nothing about that. That was a temporary situation. But as a grown woman, these are the following things that I want to achieve. And I hope you can roll with me on this journey. But if it's okay if you don't want to. If you don't want to, this was a good time and I'll find someone who fits in to my future. So we're going to wrap up that conversation. Just say wisely, if you want to spin the block, please do some self work. And I think that takes us back to the importance of therapy.
Absolutely.
And how that can help you on your journey. I'm not saying everybody needs therapy, but I'm saying
no. I'm saying everyone needs therapy. Everybody's not perfect. Everyone has a thing. Everybody has a thing. No, everybody is not perfect. That's the whole point of why I think it took the pandemic for people to realize that they're not perfect.
That's right.
And that's why therapists are not as available as they were before pre-pandemic.
That's right.
Yeah, no.
That's
everyone
100%.
needs it. Everybody's not
so
perfect.
This is your opportunity. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation on our adulting and our parenting topics, whether we discuss how our girl children drive us crazy with their school decisions and how, if you're spinning the block, you got some lessons to learn about success and failure and where that fits in. We want to invite you to join our sister tribe, our journey, our sister chat with maineventmamas.com. This is your main page to find all things Main Event Mamas. You can find our own social medias. You can find all the videos that we released in case you can't catch up with every single one on all of our platforms. It's a reminder that we're available on Instagram and Threads and X and Facebook and TikTok.
And now we're also our podcast. You can listen to our podcast on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Amazon Audible, Podcasts,
Pocket
Pocket. I was
podcast.
like, I know it
Yeah,
was one of those. And of course, Spotify.
that's right. So it's your opportunity to hit that subscribe button and give us a rating, 5, because anything less don't work. I'm stealing that from somebody's podcast, but 5, so that we continue keep making this content that you guys like. So
I mean, technically, we're going to continue making this podcast
yeah,
regardless if you like us or not. But we would love for you to like us and give us a rating of 5.
because we're not new to this,
We are so true to this.
and this was Main Event Mamas.
Wow!